Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Roslyn Hill Chapel, a spiritual home for open minds. I'm Zoe Gerrard, chapel member, and your worship assistant for this Unitarian service in Hampstead, North London. Whoever you are and however you are this morning, there is a space for you here, and we are so pleased you have chosen to join us. We especially welcome our guest speakers today. We have returned to services in the chapel, and from next week, you are not required to register in advance. However, we still request that you agree to the precautions of using hand sanitizer, wearing a mask, and at all times maintain social distancing and take a test beforehand if possible. Although we aren't serving refreshments in the chapel yet, if you're watching at home, you can join us for tea and conversation in the virtual side aisle at midday. The Zoom link was sent out in our weekly update email. You can sign up to these emails via the chapel website for more information on all our activities. Mindfulness will go ahead in the chapel at 6 p.m. and the evening gathering tonight. At 7 p.m. will be music and meditation with Reverend Kate and our guest musician, Michael Veazey. For the collection, we are an independent registered charity and we rely on your contributions to continue our work. You can donate using the donate button on our website or donate via cash or card at the end of the service. And thank you for the many ways you contribute to our spiritual community through your time, talent, and treasure. By Sama al-Bayati, to mark the liminal time we find ourselves in as we move through the current wave of pandemic. In betwixt and in between, we move in the liminal spaces that show shades of what can become, what can be. We light this chalice as a symbol of courage, to move into that time of this and that, and not this and not that, with patience and faith, and love and hope that this time will pass, like the sun that moves in between rising and setting, reminding us that beauty resounds in betwixt and in between.
Thank you, Zoe, and welcome everyone. I'm Reverend Kate Dean, proud to serve as the minister for this beautiful and sacred spiritual community. Today we mark World Religion Day, which was established by the Baha'is in 1950, and we're pleased to welcome Farineh Vargas Kardem to share with us her thoughts from the Baha'i faith a little later. There will also be a short discussion after the service, both in the chapel and online in our virtual side aisle, if you'd like to join us to share your views and your thoughts on the subject. We come together as a spiritual community, and although we are socially distanced, we still like to at least greet one another. And so I invite you now to just turn to someone near you and wave your hellos and smile with your eyes as we greet each other in chapel this morning. Our theme for the services this month is Living with Intention, and so I offer a story for all ages, The Wise Teacher's Test, which has been adapted by our Unitarian Universalist friends from a Jataka tale in the Buddhist tradition. Once upon a time, on the outskirts of a big city in Japan, there stood an old temple. From a young age, boys who wanted to study Buddhism would come and live in the temple, and they would learn from the master teacher, a Buddhist monk. One day, the Buddhist monk who ran this small temple decided to teach his young students a lesson. He gathered them around him and spoke. He said, "My dear students, as you can see, I am growing old and slow, and I can no longer provide for the needs of our little temple as once I did. I know that I have not yet taught you how to work for money, and so I can only think of one thing that can keep our school from closing." The students drew closer and they were wide-eyed, waiting to hear what their teacher was going to say. And he continued, "Our nearby city is full of wealthy people with more money in their purses than they can possibly need. I want you to go into the city and follow those rich people as they walk around the crowded streets, or when they are walking down deserted alleyways. And then, when no one is looking, and only when no one is looking, you must steal their purses from them. And that way we'll have enough money to keep our school alive." Wow, well, the students were pretty shocked at this. They said, "But Master, you have taught us that it is wrong to take anything that isn't yours." "Yes, indeed I have," said the old monk. "It would be wrong to steal if it were not absolutely necessary. And remember, you must not be seen. If anyone can see you, you must not steal. Do you understand?" Well, the boys looked nervously at one another. Had their beloved teacher gone mad? His eyes shone with intensity, so much that they thought they really should take note of what he was saying. "Yes, Master," they said quietly. "Good," he said. "Now off you go, and remember, you must not be seen." Well, the boys got up quietly and began to file out of the temple building. The old monk rose slowly to watch them go out of the building. But when he turned back inside, he noticed that one student was still standing quietly in the corner of the room. "Why didn't you go with the others?" he asked the boy. "Don't you want to help save our temple?" "I do, Master," said the boy quietly. "But you said that we had to steal without being seen. I know that there is no place on earth that I would not be seen, because I would always see myself." "Excellent," exclaimed the teacher. "This is just the lesson I hoped that all of my students would learn, but you were the only one to see it. Run and tell your friends to return to the temple before they get us all into trouble." And the boy ran out and got his friends, who were actually nervously gathered just outside the temple, out of sight, just trying to work out what to do. And when they returned, the master told them the words that the boy had spoken, and they all understood the lesson. So no matter what we do, we always have a part of ourselves that is quietly watching and knows right from wrong, and that part of ourselves can guide us through our lives, if only we listen to it. Now, our chapel families will be meeting online today, and so we wish you well with your chapel activities. I now invite Richard Bober, a meditation practitioner and member of our chapel, to lead a meditation in the Buddhist tradition.
Good morning. A simple meditation from the Buddhist tradition. I invite you now just to sit with your feet planted firmly on the floor. And just bring for a moment your attention into your feet, perhaps closing your eyes so that you can place your attention fully in the soles of your feet. And just notice for a moment if you have an image of the soles of your feet or if you are simply feeling the soles of your feet. There's no right or wrong, just notice. And now I invite you just to bring your attention into your sitting bones on the chair. Again, just feel the pressure, the contact, the sensation of sitting. And again, I invite you just to shift your attention into your back, just checking that it's upright and centered, and relaxed and comfortable at the same time. And just notice what you notice when you feel the whole of your physical body sitting on this chair, still, upright, and relaxed. And perhaps now just notice the movement in your chest caused by your breath. Again, just noticing the sensation. And now I invite you just to bring to mind a time when you felt appreciated or valued or welcomed, or when someone offered you some kindness. And just notice the sensations in your body when you bring that to mind. Just notice without judgment. There's no right or wrong here. And if it's difficult for you to imagine such a time or recall such a time, just see if you can soften in your body and feel some warmth and kindness towards yourself. And to help this process, I invite you now just to say quietly, silently to yourself, may I be well, may I be happy, may I be at peace. So just gently, silently, in the depths of your heart, just saying to yourself, may I be well, may I be happy, may I be at peace. And just notice the feelings and sensations in your body. And with that same energy, I now invite you just to extend that feeling towards the people in this chapel around you. Just the people here today and online joining us. Just extend that feeling of welcome, appreciation, value, kindness. And from that same energy in your heart, offer it out to all the people around you. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be at peace. To the people here, around you, and online joining us. Just feel that energy extending forth from your heart outwards and unbounded. Again, just notice the sensations you feel in your body as you offer that energy of kindness and warmth outwards. And I invite you now just to return to the sensations of the breath in your body. Just noticing the inhalation and the exhalation. Notice your back, upright, relaxed, centered. Notice your sitting bones on the chair. And just gently return your awareness to the soles of your feet, resting on the floor. And when you're ready, just gently open your eyes and relax your posture. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Richard. I hope you're all feeling as relaxed as I am after that wonderful meditation. Let's now all welcome each other in another way by singing our first hymn. It's the words are in your order of service. It's called All Are Welcome Here. We Unitarians have historic links with the progressive Hindu group, the Brahmo Samaj. The following quotes from Sivanath Sastri's book, The Brahmo Samaj, Religious Principles and Brief History, summarize their approach. We believe that the world is a nursery for the soul, beautifully adapted for its growth and development, and for the exercise and culture of its moral and spiritual powers during the early stages of its existence. And that all the spiritual and moral ties that bind man to his family and to his kind are sacred and divinely ordained. We believe that religion is progressive, truth, love, and justice the ultimate goal. Religion, in order to be able to influence the onward march of the human mind, should be characterized by 4 leading traits: liberty, rationality, universality, and spirituality. In short, this religion is essentially a religion of conscience. Its God is not enthroned in yonder skies or in a place called heaven, but is living in the soul as a silent witness of its conscience, ruling and guiding its inward life. Now, we had hoped to be joined today by Manju Chowdhury and Manoshi Barua of the British chapter of the Brahmo Samaj, but unfortunately they weren't able to come. Instead, Mrs. Barua has offered this prayer for us, so let us now gather in prayer. The divine fire of the knowledge of God is hid in the heart of all human beings. He has imprinted his image of pure goodness on all material things and on all human hearts. He who is one, who is above all color distinctions, who dispenses the inherent needs of humans of all colors. He comprehends all things from their beginnings to the end. Let him unite us to one another with the wisdom which is the wisdom of goodness. In the words of Rabindranath Tagore, truth is in unity, and therefore freedom is in its realization. The text of our daily worship and meditation are for training our mind to overcome the barriers of separateness from the rest of existence, and to realize Advaitam, the supreme unity, which is Anantam, infinitude. It is philosophical wisdom having its universal radiation in the popular mind that inspires our prayer and our daily spiritual practices. It has been said in our Upanishads that our mind and our words come away baffled with the supreme truth. But he who knows that, through the immediate joy of his own soul, is saved from all doubt and fears. He realizes that peace is in the inner harmony which dwells in truth, and that beauty carries an eternal assurance of our spiritual relationship to reality, which waits for its perfection in the response of our love. And so, to conclude our prayers today, we present the translation of a Tagore poem from Gitanjali. I have had my invitation to the world's festival, and thus my life has been blessed. My eyes have seen, and my ears have heard. It was my part at this feast to play upon my instrument, and I have done all I could. Now I ask, has the time come at last when I may go in and see thy face and offer thee my silent salutation? And thank you to our friends from the Brahmo Samaj for those words. Let us now sing once again, One More Step. The words are in your order of service. Now, as I perhaps know some of you share this love of poetry, I find a depth and wonder in mystical poetry. I think it must be an unending life's work to try to describe the infinite ways of the divine. And yet we can get so much pleasure and insight from those great poet mystics who attempt to do so. And so here are three poets from different religious traditions who inspire a life of intention. The 15th century Indian poet Kabir is revered as a saint in India, with spiritual significance for many Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs alike. His synthesis of Muslim and Hindu concepts led him to espouse monotheism, yet embrace reincarnation and karma. His progressive approach and openness to religious diversity has made him a popular poet amongst Unitarians. And this poem, short poem, is translated by Daniel Ladinsky. It's a lovely example of his approach. You are sitting in a wagon, being drawn by a horse whose reins you hold. There are two inside of you who can steer, though most never hand the reins to me. So they go from place to place the best they can, though rarely happy, and rarely does their whole body laugh, feel God's poke in the ribs. If you feel tired, dear, my shoulder is soft. I'd be glad to steer for a while. Tukaram was a Hindu poet-saint born in the 1600s. He wrote poetic songs of praise and teaching. And here I share another poem by him which considers the values which make a person worthy of value, again translated by Daniel Ladinsky. The woman whose speech and actions are the same, her feet become worthy of worship. Keeping our word is the alchemy to becoming free and whole. Try and make amends for any broken hearts and broken promises. If you cannot do so in form, then prayer can heal a debt with the light you can send. And even a man can become this precious gold. And finally, Rav Nachman of Bratslav, a Jewish spiritual leader from the 18th century. He founded a branch of Hasidism which combines traditional Jewish teachings with mysticism. He believed that every person contained a divine spark and encouraged his followers to become closer to God through singing and joyful, spontaneous prayer. And this poem is translated by Arya Kaplan. How wonderful it would be if one could only be worthy of hearing the song of the grass. Each blade of grass sings out to God without any ulterior motive and without expecting any reward. It is most wonderful to hear its song and worship God in its midst. The best place to meditate is in a field where things grow. There one can truly express his thoughts before God. The best place is to meditate in the meadows outside the city. One should meditate in grassy field, for grass will awaken the heart. And now I invite Zoe to give us our prayer.
Right. This is a winter prayer, Anticipating Spring by Bose. When we think of the turn of the season, which we expect to happen soon, we know that whatever the coming months may bring, we may have great hope for the future. In all the years we each have lived, the spring has faithfully followed the gloomiest of winters. From that faithfulness, we learn to have hope for ourselves. No matter how chilled we may feel the winters to be, no matter how hard our lives may be, no matter how dispirited we may become, we can and we do come to a springtime of light and love and life and growth. Because we have hope for ourselves, we may have hope for others, for our family and friends. Sometimes relationships can seem chilly and distant. For our neighbours and acquaintances, colleagues and fellow workers. Sometimes our attempts to understand and move toward another can fail and make us feel as though icebound. For the people of other lands, sometimes relations between states can seem icy cold. Sometimes the peoples can suffer hardship, such as we might if our frozen farmlands never thawed. Our hope for others is that in trying to reflect and share the warmth of the love we see and feel in the faithful return of the spring, we can help to thaw the ice of difficult relationships, to ease the hardship caused by the delay of the growing season. We know that the damp and mists of coming months will be signs that the earth is warming once again. As our world turns toward the sun, as the days lengthen and fresh green growth begins, so we can see that even through tears and sorrows, we can turn in our hearts and minds toward that which is light and life in all we have. We too can turn and be warmed.
I now invite Professor Farineh Vargas Kardem to come forward and give her sharing for us today.
It's wonderful to be celebrating with you this World Religion Day 2022, and to remember that we're united with like-minded people in over 82 countries worldwide, celebrating this occasion across our cherished planet Earth. As Reverend Kate Dean has already told you, to give you a little bit of history about this day, which is celebrated each year on the third Sunday of January, the idea of such a day dedicated to all the religions of our world was first proposed in December of 1949 by the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of United States, and the first meeting to commemorate such a day took place in 1950. So we have a history of over 70 years celebrating this particular occasion. On such a day, every year, many Baha'i communities across the globe, and indeed many other groups, gather together for festivals of unity. They hold seminars and discussion groups to enhance greater understanding among people of diverse beliefs, and forge collaborations to foster spiritual development and improve community life. The purpose of World Religion Day is to highlight the idea that the spiritual principles underlying all religions are harmonious, and that religions play a significant role in unifying humanity. In the words of Abdu'l-Baha, the son of the founder of the Baha'i faith, whose centenary of passing Baha'is worldwide are commemorating this year, I quote the following words. In 1912, when he was traveling in Paris, he gave a lecture which was focused on unity of religions. And here he said, "Religion should unite all hearts and cause wars and disputes to vanish from the face of the earth. It should give birth to spirituality and bring light and life to every soul. If religion becomes a cause of dislike, hatred, and division, it would be better to be without it, and to withdraw from such a religion would be a truly religious act. For it is clear that the purpose of a remedy is to cure. But if the remedy only aggravates the complaint, it had better be left alone. Any religion which is not a cause of love and unity is no religion." As we ponder the significance of these words, let me offer a prayer of unity for mankind from the Baha'i writings. O thou kind Lord, unite all. Let the religions agree and make the nations one, so that they may see each other as one family, and the whole earth as one home. May they live all together in perfect harmony. O God, raise aloft the banner of the oneness of mankind. Thou art the mighty and powerful. Thou art the forgiving, and thou art the one who overlooketh the shortcomings of all mankind.
Thank you so much, Faranay. Let us end our service with our final hymn. The words again in your service sheet, "Love will guide us." Our blessing is the words from St. Francis of Assisi in the Christian tradition. God, make me a channel of thy peace, that where there is hatred, I may sow love. Where there is wrong, the spirit of forgiveness. Where there is discord, harmony. Where there is error, truth. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there are shadows, light. Where there is sadness, joy. God, grant that I may not so much seek to be comforted as to comfort, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Blessed be, and amen. Thank you so much, John, for the lovely music, and special thanks to our guests Faranay and Richard for your contributions, to Zoe and to all of those who make our Sunday mornings special, and thank you to all of you for joining us for this World Religions Day service. We will now have a short post-service discussion. If you'd like to join us, we're going to make a circle of chairs just in front of the chalice table, so do come and share your views on the theme for today. Thank you, everyone.